Why?
Gravity.
Yeah, you got a clever lady there, right? It's gravity is the hidden force that's helping you to catch the wave, right? You couldn't catch it without gravity. And that's why the steepness of the wave is really important, because somebody starts paddling the wave like a novice, so he's paddling the wave, and then the guy said, "Hey, you're not going to catch it, not going to catch it, right?" Why is he not going to catch it? Because the wave is not steep enough. So, do you want to catch the wave when it's at its steepest point? Because it's easier?
But yeah, in a way.
No, you don't. No, you don't, because it's too difficult. If the wave is too steep, it's too difficult. You're looking for a sweet spot. You're looking for where the wave is steep enough, but not too steep. If the wave is really steep, then you have to be a really good surfer. What you're looking for, you're looking ideally that the wave is not quite catchable, right? And you start paddling where it's not quite catchable, but you're moving into position. And as the wave is getting steeper, then you're moving in line with it, and you accelerate in your speed at the right time. And that's the key to catching waves. It's about accelerating at the right time. When's the right time? It's when the wave is lifting high enough and the angle is going steep enough that you can catch the wave. Catching a wave is about acceleration, and it's about acceleration at the right time. If you look at the pro surfers, or even the really good surfers, you go into Uluwatu and you look at the guys in the, I don't know, see like the top 10% of the surfers out there, they catch the waves generally, and it looks effortless to them, right? Why does it look effortless? Because it's like a duck. The work is under the water, right? You don't see it, right? But it's a couple of power strokes at the right time, and it is actually easy for them, because if you paddle at the right time, and it's about acceleration. It is. Right? What is it? Einstein's equation: E equals mc squared, right? Energy equals mass times the acceleration times the acceleration. It's the acceleration is the dynamic. Right? And what helps you with the acceleration is the external force of gravity. But that's the science behind it. What we do is head down to get the advantage of gravity. Head down as far as you can, so the weight is going forward. If your weight is back here, the gravity's not helping you. If your weight is here, gravity's helping you. So it's the same technique, but it's deeper strokes. You're paddling normally like this, and you've got a good technique, but then it's like, whoa, a little bit harder, elbows high, and it's just keeping that technique, and it's accelerating until you're moving faster than the wave. You want to be going faster than the wave, right? And it's about commitment, working hard, and then looking when to go. So, how fast do you need to be paddling to catch a wave? Same speed as the wave, right? Same speed as the wave. But the problem with that, and you see the Uluwatu a lot on the peak, for example, people paddling, they caught the wave, they move in the same speed as the wave, but the wave is like this, they go in the same speed as the wave, and the wave is going like this, they're still the same speed as the wave, and then the wave throws them. So you have to be going in front of the wave. You need to be overtaking the wave. You need to go faster than the wave. If it's a powerful wave and you go in the same speed as the wave is going to catch you, right? That's what happens. You caught the wave. You think I caught the wave, but actually the wave's caught you, right? Because the wave is going to throw you. And that's dangerous.
Would good surfers get up early if they're not going quicker than the wave to try and get down before it catches them? So I'm thinking of Bondi Beach, where it's an awful, steep, dumpy kind of wave.
Well,
and I feel like the good surfers normally get up, and the ones like me normally get down.
Well, the good surface is about wave selection, first of all, positioning, wave selection. They're not going to jump up until they're going in front of the wave. Yeah. And even good surfers, they're going to fail sometimes, and actually failing is a helpful part of it. You don't want to be failing sometimes. If you're 100% success rate, you're being too cautious, and that's my issue for surfing. Like I'm like 100%, 99.999, whereas you want to be like 9 out of 10. You want to be failing sometimes. What a lot of intermediate surfers do, what they do, they paddle, they catch the wave, they jump up, and they haven't quite caught the wave. The wave keeps moving on, right? They thought they caught the wave and they haven't, right? Or they catch the wave and the wave tumbles them with them, and that's what happens to you. You get tumbled with the wave. Paddle faster, head down, paddle faster. Keep paddling. It's normally an extra stroke or two. That's what people do. It's not an extra stroke. So like a good surfer, will give that extra stroke, and they put their head down and they give that commitment. How do you know when you've caught the wave? How do you know when it's the right time to get up? Nobody knows, huh? Nobody knows. Okay, you come to the right place.
When you start feeling the board gliding on the wave?
It's about a feeling, right? It is a feeling, right? It is a feeling. It's a feeling, right? And that's what that's what you need to learn, and that's what people, it's like, oh, I caught the wave, oh, get up, oh, I haven't caught the bloody wave, right? You didn't, it's just experience with a feeling, and then, oh, I caught the wave, ah, no, the wave's caught you, right? Again, it's a feeling, right? And it's about commitment and hard work. Any question on how to paddle catch a wave? No. Everyone got it, huh? Wrong button again. So how to pop up? This is essential. I got a terrible pop up. It's helpful. I can tell you what is golden rule not to do is don't use your knees. If you use your knees, it's all over the place, right? It's complicated, right? I'm going to show you two techniques. One is the proper way to get up, and so hopefully I can do it. I'm not really in good condition myself at the moment, but one is the proper way to get up, and the other one is the way that they teach you to get up. A lot of surf skills teach you to get up, and they don't teach you the proper way, right? They teach you an easy way, which does work. It's not the proper way, right? This is the proper way, and so hopefully I can do it. And I can tell you what it is for a pop-up. You don't need a great deal of upper body strength, right? You don't. You need to be able to lift your own body weight, right? You don't need a great deal. You need some flexibility, not a great deal. But what's the most important part of your body that comes into play when it comes to a pop-up? It's the mind, right? For me it is, right? We're all different, right? And it could be somebody's like physiological, or they got something, they could have something like that, right? But for me it's the mind, right? And it's about repetition and muscle memory, that's what it's about. But if you think I can't do it, right? If I go down my body, I think I can't do it, right? I'm not in good condition, I can't do it. I'm not going to do it, right? I got to go down there and I got to think I'm going to do it, right? It's about a mindset, right? And that's surfing, catching wave. It's a mindset. I'm going to catch that, right? I'm going to catch it, and it's about wanting it. I really want it, right? Oh, here we go. Oh, creaking, yeah, right? So it's don't hold the rails. That's a bad one, right? It's really hard to get up if you hold the rails. It's almost impossible to get up from your lying flat like this. You'd have to be a gymnast or something special to be able to get up from a prone position like this, right? Obviously I can't, right? So it's your hands are to the side or flat in front of you, where your chest is, right? And then what you want to do is a two-stage movement. One is to arch your back, right, and lock yourself like this, and then it's looking forward and thinking I can do it, right? And it's actually it's bringing the front foot forward. It is. And don't get up too quickly, right? What people do, they jump up and they go like this, right? And that's when you lose your balance, right? Because you're human beings, and this is how you want to stand. You want to be straight up like this, but it's actually you want to keep yourself low, low and stay low, because you got greater balance layers. People pop up and they go like this, and that's when you lose the balance, right? It's concentrating about bringing the front foot forward. Don't think about the back foot. The back foot's going to follow. It's bringing the front foot forward, arching your back, bringing the front foot forward. Any questions on how to do a proper pop-up? something you can practice on the land. This is the one that there's a lot of surf schools teach, right? It's not ideal, but it works, right? It's similar like this, right? But what they do, they bring the back foot and then the front foot. What's the disadvantages of that?
Standing on your toes.
It's not as quick. Another disadvantage is the weight goes on the back foot and then the front foot, so that slows the board down. If you've got a really clean jump up and it's like this, right? You know, it's quick and nice, and your weight is distributed correctly. If you're doing back foot, front foot, it does work, right? If you can't do a pop-up, then that one does work. But they are the only two methods. And you see people, if you're doing all your knees and all this and on your elbows, you know, I mean, it doesn't work, right? Because it takes too long, right? You know, you can do the second technique and it's still quick enough, and it still works, except for like really steep, difficult waves. So yeah, you want your legs together, like I said, how you'd be paddling anyway. You're looking forward in the direction you want to travel. Your hands under your chest on the rails, arch your body up, bring your front foot forward a few inches above the middle of the board. Depends if you're on a beginner board, but on a short board. What you have on a surfboard, on any board, you have what's called a fulcrum, right? You have a middle point here, which is the balancing point. And the fundamentals of surfing, a short board, are to be able to distribute your weight either side of the fulcrum. It's different on a longboard. What do they do on a longboard? They move in their feet like this, right? Because they can't, because the board's too long, right? Unless you got supersized legs, right? So that's why longboarding is a different style of surfing, right? And that's why they're going up and down the board there, because they can't, right? We're not really into longboard surfing here, right? We're all shortboard surfers. Because we all love to ride a shortboard, because it's a greater feeling. I'm not disparaging longboards. I'm just going to say, you know, and we don't teach how to ride a longboard, right? But we teach how to ride a shortboard, and it's about having your back foot square around about where the two side fins are. If you've got a deck pad, and a deck pad's highly recommended, it's just about on the edge of the deck pad here, and the front foot needs to be the other side of the fulcrum. If you're standing like this, I see good surfers, even they surf it like this. Well, they can surf quite good, but they haven't got full control of the board. The board's flopping like this, and they haven't got drive of the board. I remember this guy came in, and he surfed good. He's from a surfing place, and he put his deck pad, and his deck pad was there. And we were all laughing at him. We said, why do you put a deck pad there, right? Where's your deck pad there? He said, because when I jumped up, I tested. He said, when I jumped up, that's where I put my foot. I said, well, you put in your deck pad where your foot is, but your deck pad should be where your foot should be, right? And I said to him, try it. I said, try putting your deck pad at the back of the board. And it transformed his surfing, right? So it's the weight on the back of the board for turning the board, and it's the weight on the front of the board for speed and for driving. To go faster on the board, you know, it's this movement. It is. There's a kind of a movement between you're shifting the weight between the front foot and the back foot, and it's either side of the rails. I'm on the wrong section, yeah? I'm talking about the wrong section, never mind. I'm explaining why your feet should be there, right? Front foot above the middle of the board, knees bent, looking forward. So we're talking about my favourite part now, right? And I was talking about it then, right? I was saying about where your feet should be and why. The back foot is on the tail of the board to be able to turn the board. If you stand in here, the board doesn't turn, or it turns very poorly. If you stand in here, and when you're surfing, you should be moving your feet as well. The back foot for a cut back to go faster. So there's a little bit of movement in your feet, and you can't teach that. It just comes naturally as you progress. But it's key to be finding the right spot. Your feet over the fulcrum, which is the middle of the board here, and it's about having be able on the toe side and the heel side to be able to control either rail. If you're off like this or something like that, the board is all wobbling. If you like this, the board's flapping. If you like this, you can't turn the board. If you like this, it's either side. It's the weight here. And the other thing, what helps you then is your arms out here. So what a lot of beginner surfers, I think they all do, they surf like this, and they say, bend lower, right? And they go lower and lower, right? They bend in at the waist. It's always bend at the knees. And intermediates, they're something like this, right? An intermediate is something like this, right? What the problem is, and this is the reason they're intermediate. The reason they're intermediate, because they're not standing on the board correctly. Their chest is facing the wrong way. So it's like riding a motorbike, right? If you're riding a motorbike, you're like this, and your handle's either side, right? And the skateboard, that's why if you can't stand on a surfboard correctly, I highly recommend you try skateboarding, right? Because it's the same, right? It's the same. And intermediates, they stuck at intermediates, right? And they stuck at intermediate level, could be like 5 years, 10 years. Why? Because they're not standing on the board correctly, right? And it's hard for me to understand what's so difficult about this is standing on the board. This is standing on the board correctly, right? This is a functional stance. And this is standing on the board incorrectly. Right, this is an advanced surfer, right? That's an advanced surfer, chest facing forward, arms either side. That's an advanced surfer. The arms will be moving about, but it's something like this, right? That's an advanced surfer. That's an intermediate surfer, and that's a beginner surfer, right? They're the three main categories that we have. Once the worst one, right? The intermediates, and we call it the poo stance. They surf in like this, right? What's the worst thing about the poo stance? Go on, I know you want to say, go on. You look fucking terrible, right? Right? The worst one about the poo stance, right? They like this and they're like, hey, look at me, I look fucking amazing. They think that they look great, right? And you look fucking terrible, like a monkey, right? Like a monkey, right? But they think that they're fucking great and they don't get it, right? Yeah, it looks terrible. I tell you the other thing as well, I'm tired, right? Just standing here for a couple of seconds, my legs are tired. I couldn't ride a wave like this for a minute. I couldn't ride a wave like this for, and I'm tired, right? If you're in a functional stance like this, you can stand like this forever, right? You can stand like this for 10 hours, right? And you could ride a wave like this, you could ride forever and you're not tired. You're not straining your muscles. So, something like this, you're straining, it's unnatural. And the problem is you haven't got the body movement, right? So surfing's about being able to move the weight between the back foot and the front foot to get either side of the fulcrum, right? And it's to be able to go to the left rail, the right rail, and it's these movements it is. So what's missing with a lot of the element is the chest facing forward and the arms. If you like this, then it's so easy to go from the distribute the weight the front foot and the back foot. Like it's so easy and it's no strain at all. And to move the backwards like this, right? To move a little bit, it's just so easy, right? And it's so comfortable. And then you have you have the movement, and if you're young or whatever, you do yoga, and that's what they see the surfers like, they do in these positions, and their hand is touching there, and they move in there, because they fit, they're flexible, right? But you can't do it like this, right? You can't put your hand there like this. You're locked in, right? So like this, they're locked in, right? So if you're surfing like this, can you tell me what you're using to steer the board? What am I using? The bum on your head, right? So they're trying to turn the board and they're using the bum on the head, right? It's like driving a fucking car with your bum, right? Riding a motorbike with your bum, right? Maybe for dancing it's okay with your bum, right? To lead with your bum, right? But with surfing, it's your arms, right? And it's your shoulder movement, right? It's your leading arm and your shoulder movement are the keys. And it's about having the knees facing forward and the chest facing forward. And then you can do it. You're an advanced surfer. When you do like this, you're an advanced surfer, and it becomes easy, right? Surfing's quite easy if you like this. If you like this, it's really hard to control the board. So your arms high either side of Or bend to the elbows. We say bend to the elbows because you have greater movement. If you're losing your balance and if you're like this, you're stuck like that, right? If you're like this, it's you subconsciously you get your balance easy, right? You're not even thinking about it. You lose your balance, right? Somebody pushes you or whatever, right? If you're like this. I'm going to stand like this. Kat, come up here and just see how easy it is to push me off the board, right? Come on, quickly, right? I'm standing like this, right? Just see how much effort it is to push me off the board, right? Right? Try the other side, push me the other side, right? Watch how easy it is to get me off the board, right? Right? So I'm gonna stand now if I'm surfing, right? Can you push me off the board now? Come on.
Strong. Yeah, working.
Right? Come on, push me off.
Okay.
I tell you what she done to push me off, right? I think she went lower or whatever, right?
Yeah.
You know, and you had to work at it, right? If you're in a functional stance, you're stable, you're in control, and it's hard to lose your balance, right? You know, but if you're like this, you know, the tiniest thing, right? You know, and I'm not faking it. You try it yourself. Like you stand like this, right? And you're gone, right? We got this on our website. We got a blogs here, and we got Miss Zara there's demonstrating it. She's a beginner surfer, so she's not actually perfect stance, but head looking where you want to go, right? You know, we got thousands of years of evolution, right? What's our evolution? Our evolution is to follow where we look in, right? You know, footballers, they run in, they go in where they go in, right? You know, all these sports, tennis players, you know, they go in where they can, you know, it's not looking this way and going that way, right? Or like that, right? You know, it's key, and that's what people get wrong with the surfing. The intermediates in Uluwatu, they take off and they look in towards the beach, right? They look in that way. The wave is going that way. It's looking where the wave is going. It's looking down the line, looking across where you want to go. They look in the wrong place, right? That's a typical one for intermediates, right? They want to be looking where you want to go on the wave. You know, we all get a little bit wrong. I'm looking too far down the line. You know, I mean, I'm not perfect, right? I'm not saying, you know, so I'd have more empathy perhaps because I'm not a great surfer, but I'm generally looking in the right spot. I'm not looking, not miles out. The arms over the balance of the rail for stability. Either surfer, and it's the right arm controls the right rail, the left arm controls the left rail, and this is giving you balance and control. Elbows bent for maximum balance. If you're a beginner surfer, keep them really high. If you're intermediate, it's not so, you know, for advanced surfer, you don't actually need the arms, right? For advanced surfer. The advanced surfers are to make, you know, to give you the swishing movement, right? You know, really good surfers, they can, you know, and that's what they do. Like really good surfers, like they'll surf like that, right? Because they say, I can do it, or they look backwards like that. You know, that's a really good surfer, right? You know, they look in that way, right? You know, but they're expert surfers, right? But you know, for us mere mortals, we need our arms, right? And you know, we said like for the beginners, you know, high like this, and it just gives you the maximum balance. For intermediates, you still want to be either side. If you like this, you know, you get your arms crossed over like this, right? Stay loose. Don't be tight. Don't be stiff. It's like dancing, Shakira. Think of Shakira, right? Keep yourself moving, right? See what common mistakes, bending at the waist, toilet stance, feet not in the middle of the board, feet too close together, feet too far apart. What's the problem with the feet that are too far apart? Can't control the board, right? The board doesn't perform, right? The feet are too close together, the board doesn't perform and you're losing balance. If you're standing like this, you haven't got balance. If you're standing, this is better, too wide is better because at least you've got balance, but the board doesn't perform. The board performs when feet should be a little bit more than shoulder width apart. And it's not an exact measurement where the feet should be. And I said the feet are supposed to move. You're supposed to be moving the feet, but a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. I'm done. taught you how to, told you how to paddle, how to lie in the board, how to pop up, how to catch waves, and how to stand on the board. Any questions?
Just on almost the stance side of things, just thinking of, especially when I first started, I feel like when you get up and you're in the wrong position, it's almost impossible to correct. If you look down, you'll lose your feet. Is there any tips on correcting a bad pop-up?
Well, I would say that was two different things, two different questions. I would take it as two different questions. One is about getting your feet correct. And what I used to do was that, because when you're riding, you shouldn't look down, right? You should always be looking where you go. And I'll give you a tip as well. If somebody's in your way, don't look at them, right? If somebody's in your line, don't look at them, because if you look at them, that's where you're going to go, and you run them over, and that's what causes accidents, and that's what happens at Padang. Like, they look at people, and they look at them and they go, look the other way, right? You're going to go where you look, right? So that's I've gone sideways there. What I used to do is, at the end of the wave, I'd look at where my feet were, and then I'd correct it later. So a tail pad really helps because you can feel it. Now I don't need to. My feet are in the right position, and it's something that you get your feet right is with a feeling. So with the pop-up, yes, you can correct the pop-up. You practice on the land, right? You can correct the pop-up. It's something you can do out of the water. You can do in 10 a day, 20 a day. And you get the muscle memory. So that's how you correct the pop-up, right? By repetition, practice, with feet positioning. As I said, my own experience. I used to look down at the end of the way, but you will feel it, and it will just come with progression. Surfing's a very, very difficult sport. You're not going to go out there day 1. You're not going to go out there day 10. You're not going to go out there day 10 and bump. Get your feet in the right position and in a functional stance and in control and that. When you're not, right? And that's the. I think that's why people, still surfing like me. I'm still. It's challenging for me, right? If I go skateboarding, it's not, right? If I ride around on the thing and I do this and that, it's not. And there's other sports I do. It's not really challenging, right? But surfing is. And that's, there's no greater feeling than, riding across the water. And, surfing's about getting speed and making turns. I tell you, that's what it's about, right? At any level, it's fun. At a beginner, intermediate, advanced, at any level, it's fun. But it's about getting speed and making turns. And it's, and it's just, it's like crack cocaine, right? It's just hugely addictive, but it's good for you, right? It's good for you. It's good for your physiological. It's good for your psychological. Like, I can tell you this, that in Biarritz in France and other places, that doctors are prescribing it for depression. You're saying like, doctor, I'm fucking, and I'm my life's not, I'm not feeling good. Like, and the doctor's saying to him, like, go surfing, right? There's your prescription. Go surfing. Why? Well, it's going to give you good physique. You're going to be meeting people. It's sociable. Any more questions? Okay, thank you very much. You've been a lovely audience, right? I really enjoyed it, right? I hope you learned something, right? And if you just get one thing that you can put into, if you could just take one thing away from here, I would be delighted. If everyone just, and there's lots and lots of information. I'm about every day if you want to ask me something about anything, right?
Thank you.
All right, thank you, right?